I think the best idea would have been to have Loki at a separate location. I mean, the main problem is, like, Bruce Banner was there to create the way to detect the Tesseract. And so why they had Loki there was to tell them, in case they couldn't find it first, where the Tesseract was. If all they needed Loki for was to tell them, eventually, which we know he didn't, obviously wouldn't, but, they could have had him in a separate location. They didn't even have him on the same ship as everybody else. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. If he tries to break out, then nobody else is affected by it. And don't leave Thor with him to guard him. Leave Hulk, because the only person obviously, bam, especially when they finally did get Hulk.
We're going to go to the good things now?
Yeah, but good parts, yeah, not just bad parts of the movie. But he picks him up and throws him around like a rag doll, and it's like some god. I am a god!
That was great.
Oh, I love that. And between that and then, him trying to touch Iron Man, trying to take control of him, it's like, performance issues. Oh, I understand, I get it.
And the best thing about the whole Hulk smash, Loki scene was Loki's face afterward. Because after Hulk, does him like that, he's just there like,
what?
Like he's just stunned. Like, wait a minute, that hurt.
That happened.
Yeah. And the other scene with Captain America telling the police officers what to do, and so like, well, who are you? Who are we supposed to listen to? And then he beats the tar out of all these alien soldier creatures, and so then we got to go do that. And so when he's telling everybody else to do all these specific things, Hawkeye go up here, and Iron Man go over here, Hulk smash. All
right, next topic.
Okay. Speaking of all the controversy, Samuel L. Jackson. Did you hear what he did on Twitter? Apparently, the New York Post. New York Times, their review of the film said it was not as great as everybody needs to be. And so Samuel L. Jackson...
Camera gets your face when you have the hammer up like that.
Okay, yeah. And Samuel L. Jackson basically responded to this guy. He's like, somebody needs to find this guy a better job because he can't do it if he can't say that Avengers is the best film ever. And so when people responded to him, it says, like, well, everyone has the right to their own opinion. And Samuel L. Jackson replied, not unless it's my opinion, and my opinion is the best.
Now, was this on Samuel L. Jackson's personal Twitter?
Yeah.
Well, then I think he completely has the right to say that, because if you write something, I don't have a Twitter, but if you write something on my Facebook that I don't like, I'll just go in and delete it. There is no First Amendment on my Facebook page.
Alright, so there's that, and so next comic, best character, Thor, Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Nick Fury, or Agent Phil. I would say Iron Man. The way that they developed him, because even Robert Downey Jr. said after Iron Man 2 that it was a mistake to make him a drunk loser, to make him go so low in terms of drunk with power kind of thing. That was a bad idea to do that, and so they already said for Iron Man 3 he's going to go straight shooter again. That after Avengers that he's been more influenced to do the right thing instead of just working for himself.
See, I hope that's not true, because I was looking forward to Iron Man 3 dealing more with Tony Stark's alcoholism, because that was a big thing in the comic books. It was a big storyline. In fact, when Robert Downey Jr. was cast as Iron Man, my first thought was, that's freaking brilliant. Because if you're going to have a substance-abusing superhero, what better actor to play him than Robert Downey Jr.?
Well, I mean,
in the 90s, the man was the poster boy for freaking substance abuse.
Yeah. I guess the idea is more of he's going to resolve that issue. Instead of Iron Man 2, he didn't really resolve it. He was still living in it, and that was still a problem for him. And it kind of made him, not really a relatable hero, but more like a problematic kind of guy. It's getting in the way of his work.
And that's what I want to see. I want to see the alcoholism dealt with, not just filed away and like, okay, that was we talked about it, now let's forget about it ever happening, because I think that's the wrong way to go.
Alright, so who was your favorite character then?
That's tough, because they really were all used perfectly. They all got good screen time. They all were doing their own thing. That's really hard to say. I mean, I guess I'd have to say Iron Man, just because I think Iron Man's freaking cool. But I will say that my least favorite character was the Incredible Hulk, just because I don't think that they used him properly. I mean, you wait an hour and a half or more to even get to the first Hulk out. and there are 2 Hulk outs in the movie, which I think is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But they're 10 minutes apart. You know, it's like he hulks out, and then he breaks a bunch of stuff, and then there's like 10 minutes, and then he hulks out again for the final battle and breaks a bunch of more stuff. I would have much rather have seen a Hulk out at the beginning and then a Hulk out at the end than to have 2 Hulk outs, you know, back to back, and you're wasting, you know, you're going through the whole movie going, where is the Hulk? Where is he? I mean, is he just going to be, you know, Banner the whole time? And I really didn't like Mark Ruffalo. I mean, I'm sure he did it. I'm sure he did a fine job. I'm sure if there was no such thing as Edward Norton, he would have been great. But through the whole movie, I just kept thinking Edward Norton was better.
I was going to think about, like, you know, the reason why, you know, the Hulk didn't really show up to the lower half, because, you know, they keep trying to ask him over and over again, how are you able to keep control over the Hulk? Why is it that he doesn't show up? And it's not until, you know, the last, you know, bit that he says, I'm always angry. Spoiler. We already said that. Yeah. But, you know, it's more of a build-up, you know, okay, what the Hulk is going to look like. And also, you had to have the 2 different versions of the Hulk. One where, in the latter half, he's in control and he's helping out the other heroes. But in the first time you see him, though, he's insane and enraged, and he's trying to kill everybody else. I mean, they don't say that.
I think it's also more along the lines of, they keep telling him over and over, we don't want you as the Hulk. We know you don't want to be the Hulk. We want you as your intelligence, as Bruce Banner, in order to figure out where the Tesseract is. And, okay, so the next topic, I guess, since we're already leading into it, the new Bruce Banner, compared to the others, and also speculate on the 6-movie deal.
6-movie deal with who?
With the new guy. Whatever you just said his name.
Yeah, who played
Mark Ruffalo?
Mark Ruffalo. Yeah, they said him scheduled to be Hulk for the next another 6 movies.
That's funny because Kevin Feige, who is president of Marvel Entertainment, Marvel Studios, Marvel Movies, whatever the hell you want to call it now, he said that they have no plans to do the Hulk movie, that the Avengers redeemed the Hulk and they don't want to go and mess it up by making another crappy Hulk movie. Which I'd like to go on the record as saying that out of 2 solo Hulk movies, only one of them was crappy. The Incredible Hulk was amazing. It was awesome, and I think it gets trashed a lot more than it deserves.
Yeah. Well, there's also the speculation that they just locked him in that way, so if he tried to do anything else, you know, they wouldn't have to let him do that, you know, because they lost, obviously. If they'd done the same thing, did Edward Norton, do you know if he had the same kind of deal and he just backed off, or?
Well, he got fired.
He got fired, period, okay.
Yeah, he, I guess he didn't agree with the direction that they were taking the Hulk and the Avengers, and he was very vocal about that to Marvel, and Marvel said, well, if you don't like it, there's the door. So he was basically fired over creative differences, which I don't know what direction he could possibly have wanted to take the Hulk in, unless maybe he wanted the Hulk to be the threat that brings the Avengers together as opposed to being an Avenger. I don't know.
Yeah. Alright, there's also talk about the Avengers 2 being included with the X-Men. That apparently they didn't feel that the Avengers could carry themselves well enough into a sequel that they needed to have an X-Men reboot along with them.
So Marvel is doing a reboot
X-Men.
of the X-Men?
Yeah.
So Fox has lost their option on X-Men then?
I don't know.
Well, if that is true, that will make me happy. Not because I have a problem with the Fox movies. I don't. I like all 5 or 6, however many X-Men movies there are now. I liked all of them. And I thought Fox did a great job, but I would love to see both X-Men and Spider-Man revert back to Marvel, because maybe after they do 3 straight-up Avengers movies, maybe we can get a new Avengers movie with the new Avengers lineup of, you know, Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Luke Cage. I think that would be great.
Yeah. I think it's more along the Marvel by itself probably apparently couldn't do it, but since they've been bought out by Disney, I think Disney's more the main influence in terms of trying to get all these properties back.
Well, would they be using the... I'm just asking you a question. Fine.
No, you had to...
Would they be using the first-class version of the X-Men, or would they be using the X-Men they were using originally with Patrick Stewart and all?